assuming that you've downloaded the software, the first hurdle is to get it actually into your virtual infrastructure. I'm using WinSCP to upload the ISO from this Windows machine into my virtual infrastructure. You'll see there the name of the volume it's going into. That's SCSI Volume 1 into a folder called ISO. For the sake of the video, obviously I've speeded this up quite dramatically. It's about 6 gig file. So, what I need to do now is create my appliance by creating a new virtual machine. My virtual infrastructure. I'm going to give it a sensible name so that I can find it. If you've got a particular folder structure, you can pick that below. Now I'm not in DRS mode, so I'm going to have to pick which host I'm going to put it on. And which storage I am going to... I don't have a lot of real estate here, so bear with me while I find SCSI Volume 2. It's got the most space on it. Click Next. And we're going to want to select a Linux box and a Red Hat Enterprise Linux distro version 8. It's actually Rocky Linux when it's deployed, but 8 CPUs. I'm going to change the hard disk to 100 gig and the memory to 16 gig. I'm going to thin provision that. Now I'm going to make sure it's on the right network or connected to the right port group. And then finally the ISO that I uploaded into my data store. Remember that's in Volume 1 in that ISO folder. I've got quite a few ISOs in here, bear with me. There we go, Vinchin Enterprise. Okay, and don't forget to tick the box to connect it at power on. Otherwise nothing will happen. Click Next. Click Finish. Down in the task at the bottom there you'll see it's completed, so let's go and find it. Remember it's called PNL-Vinchin. There it is there, let's power it on. Now open a console. Okay, simply hit enter and the setup will start. Once again I've sped this up for the benefit of the video, and there are a few things that we're going to want to do. So the standard keyboard layout is English US, which although I'm in the UK, I'm on a Mac, would actually work for me, but I'm going to add in a UK Macintosh keyboard because that's what I'm on. Let's take the US English one out of the way. Now it's always good practice to scroll to the bottom of these dialog boxes, particularly if you've not got a lot of real estate, but the actual progress button is at the top. Just simply click Done. Same again for language. I want English United Kingdom as well. You have to have US. Time and date, simply find where you are on the map. Not that I'm in London, but I'm in the same time zone as London. Then I'm going to need to select the disk that I'm going to install on. There's the 100 gig disk that we created earlier. There are some more options down here if you want to encrypt things, but I'm going to leave everything on the default. And then finally, probably most importantly, network setup. Ensure that the network itself is enabled as it is there. Then go to configure go to IPv4 settings, and I'm going to add a static IP address in. 192.168.100.122. Net mask. Oh, I've managed to wipe it out, but it is 24 bits. And the gateway is 192.168.100.1. My DNS server is 192.168.100.10. The domain I'm in is pnl.com. There'll be nothing else on there that I need to set, but I need to change that from DHCP to manual. Have a final check, make sure everything's okay. It is. Click Save. And at the bottom there I'm going to enter the host name, otherwise it'll call itself localhost because it's default Linux distribution. Click Apply. Click Done. We're now at a point where we can progress, scroll to the bottom and begin the installation. Again, I've sped this up quite dramatically for the sake of the video. But when it's completed, it will prompt us to reboot. Do so. Now our interaction here is finished, so we can close the console down. Because now to connect to the appliance directly, we're going to connect to its web interface. Simply type in the IP address that you set earlier, 122. You'll get an error because it'll be a self-signed certificate, that's okay. You will have been emailed the logon details with your download. You can see I've put a picture of what it looked like in the email there. So you can. It wants us to change the default password. Edge being helpful. And let's just tip the box to remember password as well, because I'm especially lazy. Now it's telling us it's unlicensed, and that's fine. We will fix that first. If you go to system license. Now because I've only got a trial license, I can simply upload it. If you've got a real license, it's got to be signed with a hash and sent to their sales department and validated and sent back to you. For the 60-day trial, we're just simply going to upload the license like so. Now it will log us out and it'll ask us to log back in, but this time when we logged in we'll be licensed. Sure, the most important thing to add in next is our virtual infrastructure. So go to our resources, infrastructure, virtual platform, and I'm going to add in my vSphere. So it's at the top of the list there. I could give it the FQDN if I wanted to, but for simplicity's sake I'm just going to put the IP address in. A username and password to access my vSphere infrastructure. Click OK. And you'll have a good think about it for a couple of minutes while it connects. Now you see there it says unlicensed. So click license and you'll see I've got three, even though one of them's offline, I've got three hosts there. Simply select them all and click license. And that's them licensed. It doesn't give you a button to exit. So there's my virtual infrastructure. The next thing I need to do is add some storage to send my backups to. So if I go down to storage and add, the storage that I'm going to be presenting is NFS. But you can see there's plenty of other options. I'm going to put my share path in, server name / and then the mount of the NFS. And then I'm going to change the name that appears within Vinchin. It doesn't like that NFS path. I'll have a look at that in a minute. I wonder if I will be happier if I put the IP address in. No. Perhaps, I'll come back and have a look at that in a minute. Select what you're going to use the storage for. In my case, it's backup. And I'm just going to knock the percentage down so it alerts it when there's 10% left. Yeah, well, it still doesn't like that path. Why is it like... Oh, I've missed a colon. There we go. And click OK. There we go. That's everything fine. So now I've connected to my virtual infrastructure. I've got some storage just on my backups on. NFS share 01. So they're ready to accept my backups. It says it's about 1 terabyte in size. So now I can actually do some backups if I wanted to. So let's have a look at what virtual machines we can see. As you can see, it's enumerated all the VMs that it's found in the virtual infrastructure. Let's take a very short list. Oh, page 1 of 3, that's fine. Okay, so to create a backup job, go to backup, expand vSphere, expand my cluster, my data center. You see the hosts at the top there, and there's all my VMs. Now I've got a very small VM, Linux OS distro there called TinyVM Client. I use that one because it is so small. Click next. Now I've only got one piece of storage to send it to, so it's picked that by default. Backup strategies. Okay, you pick what sort of backup you want. I'm going to pick forever incremental. And then you can schedule your backup. So by default it's set to daily at 9:10, and you can have it weekly or monthly, of course. But I'm going to stick it to repeat, and it's going to repeat the repeat interval. If you look at the way that that's formatted, you can see that it's set for days, hours, and minutes. So that's every day it will repeat, and it will repeat in a window in between 9:10 and 10:10. Pretty straightforward. There are other policies there that you can set things on, but I'm going to leave everything else on its defaults, just to demonstrate how simple this is to set up. You've got another few options there. Again, I'm going to leave everything on its default. And you can see change block tracking is on, and you can change block sizes and things like that. Click next and review. And once you're happy, you can submit that job onto the queue. There it is there. One thing that I did find confusing at first is where it says pending. It'll always say pending if it's going to do the job at 9 o'clock in the evening in the future, whether it's run it or not. So you can expand the job there and look at individual bits of it. And for the sake of expediency, I'm going to manually run the job. Okay, that's the job started. We'll take other backup solutions. If you click the backup job itself while it's running, it will show you what it's doing. As I said earlier, this is a very small VM, so it will be remarkably quick. That is that VM backed up. I go to virtual machines and I do a search for my tiny machine. You'll see there's a tick next to it, and also it says protected. So I drag the column across. So we know that that machine is protected, it's safe, it's backed up. Should we need to restore it, For example, if some clown logs into Virtual Center, powers it off and deletes it out of the inventory. Where are we? There we go. We've now, once we've clicked yes, we've now catastrophically lost that VM. So we've powered it off, we've deleted it, it's no longer in the inventory, it's no longer on any of the data stores. If that were a production server, we would now be panicking and needing to restore. Go VM backup restore. We want a full restore. Now obviously I'm only going to have one when I expand this out. And you can see there are two time frames because I did a full backup and an incremental backup. I'm going to do a full backup. A full restore from a full backup. I'm going to pick which host in my cluster it's going to be presented to. Put it back on ESX02, which is where it was before. I'm not going to mess with anything any more complicated than that. I simply need that VM back as quickly as humanly possible. So I'm going to click next. One-off restore. I'm not going to mess with any of the policies. Quick review on what it's going to do, and away we go to restore. Yeah, same as with the backup job, if you click on the restore job, it will show you the progress and what it's doing. Again, this is a tiny VM, so it'll be very, very quick. If only all restores were this quick. Okay, that says that that's now finished. So if I go back to my virtual infrastructure, you can see that I do like this. It puts the VM back, but it puts an underscore and then a timestamp on the end. So you can see that correlates to today's time and date. I like that a lot. It stops people restoring things over the top of other things. So let's just make sure that this VM is actually working. Just because it's restored doesn't mean everything's hunky-dory. Now these tiny VM deployments, there's not really a great deal to see. There's a tiny little landing thing at the bottom that you can interact with, and then you can open system tools. And I'll just open the control panel just to show you that it's actually working. Yep, that's that VM restored. Tickety boot and good to go. That's as installed and licensed the software, done a backup of one VM and a restore. Yeah, so if you're in production now, the only thing that will be left to do would be to rename that VM back to its original name. And that's us done. Thanks very much for watching. Don't forget to come and visit us. www.pnetlife.com. Thanks.